I'm showcasing my top 5 meta loadouts that you should be running right now in Warzone, which I know I just did a top 5 video a couple days ago, but we actually got a random update giving us some weapon balancing where we got a buff on the AIMS 85, a buff on the GPR 91, a buff on the Kilo 141, a nerf on the Krig C, which is actually pretty noticeable. Then we got a nerf on the DM10, which the DM10 is still really good, but there's now better options, which my whole point of showing this is just letting you guys know that it did shift the meta a little bit. So let's hop directly into the list. Starting off at number 5, we have the Kilo 141, which you guys just saw in the patch notes did catch a buff, and it's absolutely disgusting. So for the first attachment, we're going to toss on the monolithic suppressor, keeping you guys off that mini map, but also giving you guys that bolt velocity and that damage range, making sure the Kilo is hitting harder and getting you way closer to hit scan. And giving you guys the exact same pros, we're also going to toss on the reinforced barrel, again giving you guys that damage range and that bolt velocity. I do know the Kilo also is really good with the gain twist barrel because this is going to give you guys a crazy boost for that bolt velocity, but I just think it's the absolute best using the reinforced barrel. And mixing in absolutely perfect with the muzzle and the barrel, we're going to slide all the way over to the fire mods and toss on the overpressured ammunition, giving you guys even more of a boost for that bolt velocity, getting the build up to 1629. Then for the underbarrel, we're going to toss on the vertical foregrip, giving you guys that horizontal recoil control and that recoil stabilization, making sure the Kilo isn't moving whatsoever. And for the last and final attachment, we're going to toss on the extended mag 2, increase that mag capacity up to 60, making sure you don't have to reload after every single kill, but if you want to, you can definitely toss on the extended mag 3. That's my full build for the Kilo 141 and probably the easiest to use weapon on the entire list. So make sure you guys go through, give the entire bit a try and tell me the highest kill game you guys get with it. Let's hop directly into loaded number 4. And loaded number 4, we have the GPR 91. Same thing as the Kilo, you guys just saw this caught a buff. Now it's one of the best assault rifles in the entire game. So starting off the build, we're going to toss on the Dobrik MF Reflex. Like I always tell you guys, the optics are 100% personal preference, and you should run whatever you feel the most comfortable with. If you do end up tossing on the Dobrik Reflex, I highly recommend sliding over to the reticles and tossing on this blue dot. It's a little bit smaller than the red dot, and it just makes it even better. Then of course, we are going to toss on the monolithic suppressor, by far the best muzzle in Warzone. It's keeping you guys off that mini map, but also making sure the GPR is hitting harder and getting the bolt velocity up to 1008. And pretty much doing the exact same thing, we are going to toss on the reinforced barrel, giving you guys that damage range and that bolt velocity, getting the build up to 1209. And one of my favorite things about the GPR is the fact that it has zero recoil. And one of the reasons why is we're going to toss on the vertical foregrip, giving you guys a massive boost for that horizontal recoil control, making sure the GPR isn't bouncing all over the place. And for the last and final attachment, we're going to toss on the extended mag 2, increase that mag capacity up to 60, making sure you can beam an entire 4 stack if you really need to. But that's my full build for the GPR 91 and another fantastic option after the recent weapon balancing. So same thing as the Kilo, make sure you guys go through and test out this build as well. Let's hop directly into number 3. And in that number 3 spot, we have the TR2, absolutely disgusting. And after the nerf from the DM10, this just naturally took over the top DMR spot. So starting off the build, we're going to toss on our optic. My personal favorite is the rangefinder optic. It is kind of a big scope, so if you don't want to run it, I completely understand. Another really good option is the Willis 3x, which is going to be super clean on Rebirth Island. And just like every other build, we are going to toss on the monolithic suppressor. Like I keep saying over and over, keeping you guys off that mini map, but also making sure the TR2 is hitting harder and getting you way closer to hit scan. And speaking of getting closer to hit scan, we're also going to toss on the gain twist barrel, giving you guys another massive boost for that bolt velocity, getting the build up to 1652. One thing about the TR2 is it shoots a little bit faster than the DM10, and it does have a little bit more recoil. So we're going to toss on the vertical foregrip, giving you guys that horizontal recoil control, making sure the TR2 is an absolute beam. And speaking of being a beam, we're also going to slide all the way over to the fire mods and toss on the recoil springs, giving you guys that horizontal and vertical recoil control, really making it to where the TR2 isn't bouncing all over the place. And sliding back to the stock, it is 100% personal preference. I like to toss on the heavy stock, giving you guys a pretty noticeable boost for that flinch resistance, but I do see a lot of people running the balanced stock, so really test this out and find whatever you feel the absolute best with, but I'm going to toss on the heavy stock. Then to speed up the build a little bit, we are going to toss on the quick draw grip, giving you guys that ADS speed and that jumping ADS speed, making it to where the build is extremely snappy. And for the last and final attachment, it is just like the stock, it is 100% personal preference. You could toss on the extended mag 1 or even the flip mag like our DM10 build, but we're going to toss on the extended mag 2, increase that mag capacity up to 40, making sure you can sit somewhere and spray it without having to reload every 2 seconds. This thing is genuinely broken, so make sure you guys go through and test out this build as well, because it's probably going to get nerfed soon. And next up, loaded number 2, we have the Grau 556, which this has been really good for a really long time, but it's finally taken over that top AR spot now that we got another Krig C nerf. So for the first attachment, we're going to toss on the Grau 556 conversion kit, which this is what takes it from the SWAT and turns it into the Grau from Warzone 1. And it wouldn't be the Grau from Warzone 1 unless we also toss on the monolithic suppressor, but you guys have seen this on every single build so far, keeping you guys off that mini map, but also making sure the Grau is hitting harder and getting the build up to 1277. And once you actually equip the conversion kit, it gives you access to the full auto extended mag, the only extended mag option for the Grau, getting the mag size up to 50, but also giving you guys that recoil stabilization, making sure the build is an absolute absolute beam. And speaking of being a beam, we're also going to toss on the vertical foregrip, giving you guys that horizontal recoil control, making sure the grau isn't moving whatsoever. And for the last attachment, you can go in a few different ways with this. If you want to, you can toss on an optic, or you could also toss on a stock or a laser, but I'm going to toss on the quick draw grip for our rear grip, giving you guys that ADS speed and that jumping ADS speed, making sure the build is a whole lot faster. But that's my full build for the grau 556. So make sure you guys go through, give the entire bit a try, and tell me the highest kill game you guys get with it. Let me get you guys the best loadout on the entire list. And still in that number one spot, we have the LC10, by far the best SMG in Warzone, and it hasn't been messed with at all in the recent updates. So starting off the build, we're going to toss on the long barrel, giving you guys a boost for that damage range, but you honestly can't go wrong with the long barrel, gain twist barrel, or even the reinforced barrel. Then of course it is an SMG, so we want to make it as fast as humanly possible, so we're going to toss on the Ranger foregrip, giving you guys that horizontal recoil control and that sprinting movement speed, not only making you guys faster, but also making sure the build is an absolute beam. And speaking of being faster, we're also going to toss on the ergonomic grip for our rear grip, giving you guys that dive to fire speed, slide to fire speed, ADS speed, and that jumping ADS speed, making the build faster in every possible way. And like I was saying with the barrels, it's really the same thing with the stocks. You really can't go wrong with the no stock attachment, infiltrator stock, or even the balance stock. You guys have seen me run the balance stock a lot, but recently I switched back to the infiltrator, giving you guys that aim walking movement speed, making it where you're unguardable mid gunfight. And of course, for the last and final attachment, we're going to toss on the extended mag 2, increase that mag capacity up to 55. But if you want to hold on to a little bit more mobility, you can definitely toss on the extended mag 1. But that's my full build for the LC10, and like I said, the best SMG in the entire game. So if for some reason you haven't already, make sure you guys go through, give the entire bit a try, and tell me the highest kill game you guys get with it. I do have some honorable mentions, and right outside of my top 5, we still have the DM10. It's still super good after the nerf, just not as good as the TR2. So going through the build, we are going to start off with our optic, which like I said before, my favorite is the rangefinder optic, but if you don't want to run that big of a scope, you can definitely toss on the Willis 3 times. Then for the muzzle, we are going to toss on the monolithic suppressor, keeping you guys off that mini map, but also giving you guys that bolt velocity and that damage range, which is the exact same pros and cons as every other build. And mixing it perfect with the muzzle, we're also going to toss on the gain twist barrel, giving you guys a massive boost for that bolt velocity, getting the DM10 up to 1530. And speaking of bolt velocity, we're also going to toss on the overpressured ammunition, giving you guys another boost, getting the build up to 1836. But if you want to, you can definitely toss on the recoil springs. Then for the stock, we're going to toss on the buffer weight stock, which is super important, making it to where the build isn't bouncing all over the place, giving you guys the vertical and horizontal recoil control, aim walking steadiness, and that aiming idle sway. And just to make the build even more accurate, we're also going to toss on the weighted handguard, giving you guys that horizontal recoil control, making it to where the DM10 is extremely controllable. And once you have all these different attachments on, it does make it to where the build is kind of slow. So we're going to toss on the quick draw grip for our rear grip, giving you guys that ADS speed and that jumping ADS speed, making it to where the build is super snappy. And like I said earlier with the TR2, we do run the flip mag on the DM10, 20 mag size, but it is also speeding you guys up with the ADS speed, reload quickness, and the sprint to fire speed. Like I said, it's still super good after the nerf, so if you still want to run it, this is the best build for it by far. So make sure you guys go through and test it out, but I do have one more honorable mention. And again, right outside of my top 5 list, we have the C9, aka the MP5, probably the most consistent SMG in the entire game, and it's just never bad. So for the first attachment, we're going to toss on the long barrel. We're pretty much going to build this the exact same way we built the LC10, but I will say it again, you really can't go wrong with the gain twist barrel, long barrel, or even the reinforced barrel. On this build though, we aren't going to toss on the Ranger foregrip. We're actually going to toss on the vertical foregrip, giving you guys a massive boost for that horizontal recoil control, making it to where the MP5 isn't moving whatsoever. And like I said, we are going to build it like the LC10, so we're going to toss on the ergonomic grip, giving you guys that dive to fire speed, slide to fire speed, ADS speed, and that jumping ADS speed, making it to where you're gliding around the map. And of course, same thing for the stock, we are going to toss on the infiltrator stock. I do want to say it again though, you really can't go wrong with the infiltrator, no stock, or even the balance stock. I just think it feels the absolute best with the infiltrator. And for the last and final attachment, we're going to toss on the extended mag 2. You can also test it out with the 30 round mag or even the extended mag 1, but I just feel like the extended mag 2 is the clear best option, getting the mag size up to 50, making sure you don't have to reload after every single kill. That's my full build for the C9, and in my opinion, the second best SMG in the entire game. So make sure you guys go through and test out this build as well. Let me showcase everything else that I'm running. In pretty much every single gameplay, I have a stim shot with an impact grenade. For my perks, I run reflexes, quick fix, and tempered. So make sure you guys test out every single build on the list and everything else that I run. And let me know down in the comments below if this video helped you guys out at all. And if it did, make sure you guys hit that sub button. That's it for the video.